Good morning, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. You know, looking around the world right now, you've got disasters everywhere. We have been slammed with 3 major hurricanes back to back to back, from Harvey to Irma to now Maria. And what you've got is a situation where you're going to begin to understand, you're going to have to understand that these governments create their own money, okay? That these governments create their own money, that they're not dying in debt. The reality is that they're going to have to pay to get the damage for Puerto Rico. They're going to have to pay to get the damage in St. Croix. They're going to have to pay to get the damage done in Mexico. They're going to have to pay to get the damage done out in the friggin' Pacific. There's all sorts of stuff going on out near Japan. I mean, folks, you're going to realize that the idea that any of these governments are in any way, shape, or form broke is a lie. And if you believe, let's just spitball for a minute, okay? I got, let's say, $20 in my pocket that I can put toward a donation. And if you guys pull together your $20, you too might be able to help, I don't know, Florida for a minute, right? The reality is that many of these island nations, they don't even have basic electricity. They don't have anything. I mean, we're talking about, we have stories coming back in of families walking 2 miles without any kind of sanitation or electric or anything like that. The stench of dead animals everywhere. And they're sitting there. They have no idea what to do. They have no means of fixing this. But let me tell you something. The government, our U.S. government, went and exceeded Trump's request for military spending, and they exceeded it in a huge way. I mean, $700 billion for the United States military just now. Like, they gave Trump more than what he asked for. How is that even possible? You have not heard one person, not one idiot say, well, what about inflation? What are they going to do? Just print more money? You haven't heard anything about that with the military. Why do you suppose these trolls haven't said anything about inflation for military spending? Why do you think these trolls haven't talked about us becoming Weimar Republic or Zimbabwe because of military spending? Why do you suppose these trolls only talk about it when we talk about saving lives? Why do you think these morons only talk about Zimbabwe and Venezuela and all this other shit, or the BRICS? Oh, the BRICS are coming, the BRICS. Oh my God, the latest scam, the BRICS. Why do you suppose these people only say this dumb stuff when it comes to talking about how we save each other's lives? Why do you suppose it does not come up when we drop a $750 billion annual budget on the military? You got to ask yourself this question, because I assure you, you cannot donate your way to saving these places. There is no way your donations are in any way, shape, or form going to save these people's lives. You're not going to save their ecosphere. You're not going to save their friggin' homes. You're not going to save their schools. You're not going to get their electric back on. You're not going to do anything. Your actual donations are such a small chunk of what they actually need. It's unbelievable. What you're going to see is the governments are able immediately to save every one of these people. They could go down there immediately with the National Guard and tons of money to completely rebuild these places as if it was a war-torn area like they do in every other place. The only difference is they fatten their fat cats up like Halliburton and all the other ones, Raytheon, you name it. All these big-ass military contractors get their fat checks when they go to rebuild war zones. But that money doesn't come from taxpayer dollars. That money comes straight from the government. Do you understand? The government is a currency issuer. So when it says that it can't solve these problems with all these disasters, and then they look to us for donations, do you know how preposterous that is? It's preposterous for so many reasons. Let me tell you, the main reason is because it's a lie. That's the big reason. Everything else should not matter, but it does, so we'll go through a couple of them. It's a lie. The other thing is there's no way we can come up with enough money from our wallets and our purses and our kids', freaking bank accounts. There's no way we could cash in enough whole life insurance to pay for this stuff. There's no way. You could sell all your stock portfolios and you could not in any way, shape, or form really meaningfully impact these people. Our insurance service, the National Insurance Service, is literally going belly up right now. Why? Not because we can't fund it, not because we can't fix it, not because of that, but because we've created this false scarcity narrative. We've created this narrative that says the free market reigns supreme, that we got to let the free market do its thing, instead of understanding the federal government bails out everyone. Why? Because it creates the damn currency. Any other statement to the contrary shows a person literally swimming in ineptitude, swimming in ignorance, and swimming in buffoonic lies fed to them by the likes of Alex Jones, the Pete Peterson Foundation, and other worthless organizations that teach us stupid things that we repeat. So what I'm wondering, and maybe this is a question for you all. If you claim to care about all these people, and you claim to care about the environment, and you claim to care about humanity, and all the ecosphere and the environment, and on and on and on, why do you allow our government to lie to you and tell you that your tax dollars are paying for things? Why do you allow our government to lie to you and tell you that we're broke, or that we got to make tough choices, we got to tighten the belt, or that we got to eat our peas? Why do you allow our government to do that? How many lives have to end as a result of protecting this lie, right? How many people have to die to protect the lie? And how far will you go to protect that lie and pretend like that lie is real, so that you can keep your own little world together the way you always thought the world was? That way you can keep fighting the Republicans because they want to cut taxes, and you can fight the Dems because they want to raise taxes. You can keep your narrative going forever ad nauseum and nothing gets done. Is that what you want? Is that really your end game? That you are so beholden to that lie that you're willing to keep killing people over and over and over again to perpetuate that lie, that your hard-earned tax dollars are going to pay for this stuff? If that is your end goal, we have got nothing in common. If you have that goal in mind of protecting the fight of, hey, we got to cut taxes, hey, we got to raise taxes, cut, no raise, no cut, no raise, no cut. That's what I say to that, right? That's what I say to that. It's like the elbow of truth. It's like the strike of flex. It's like, wow, I'm done with it. And you should be too. You should be outraged that they're allowing you to walk down the street thinking that your hard-earned tax dollars paid for shit. You should know that your tax dollars are important. They're very, very important. But your end game here has nothing to do with taxes. It has everything to do with national priorities. It has everything to do with what do we value. It has everything to do with whether we value humanity and whether we value our ecosystem, whether we value our children's futures. It has nothing to do with the tax game. Taxes are merely a monetary instrument, a tool, a fiscal policy. It's got nothing to do with scarcity. If we have a need, and we do, guys, do you understand? Rebuilding these areas would show up on our national GDP, just so you know how worthless GDP is as a metric. All of a sudden, rebuilding these disaster zones will show up on our national GDP like we'd had a boon year, friends. Let's break out the wine. Great year on the stock market. Did you notice? Raytheon and Halliburton and all the other ones went way up through the roof. Why is that? Because they rebuilt after the disasters. There is your gross domestic product in action. Well, what about debt to GDP? I think GDP is a really important metric. Well, guess what? Guess what feeds that metric? The private prison system as well. That's part of GDP. Did you know that? Did you know that the drug war was part of GDP? I don't know if you knew that or not. But when we measure, well, what's the debt to GDP ratio? Well, I don't know. How many black or brown people have we put in jail this week? How many people are we keeping filled up in those rancid jail cells? I mean, think about what I'm saying to you. Think about what I'm saying to you. Japan has beautiful high-speed rails. They have equality throughout their nation. I mean, their income inequality is like nothing compared to ours. They don't have the world's only reserve currency. They don't have the petrodollar. They don't have any of that shit. All the lies these freaking jackasses say, they don't have any of that. They have a $750 billion annual deficit. They have a 250% debt to GDP ratio. 250%. And they can't make 2% inflation. And these parasites are running around. What are you going to do? Print more money? What are you going to do? Just print more money? Because they don't understand that this is exactly what the fuck we do right now. Already, today. This is it's not some, well, if we just implement it. Maybe if we implement it someday, but it'll never happen because we've got to get different Congress people in there. Oh my God, if we don't have reps, so we've got to fix elections. Bullshit. It's happening right now. Doesn't require any new legislation. It's happening right now. That's where your $700 billion military budget came from. Now, it requires the people really rising up. But you know what? Let me tell you about murderers by proxy, this term people get all itchy from. They get hives, scratching. Okay, when I say that, let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about people who literally stand in the way of the knowledge I just dropped and try to say, well, it's a cult. It's a cult. He's a cult leader. I don't understand what he's saying, so it must be a cult. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. They are murderers by proxy, taking that knife and just killing people. Wham, wham, wham. That's what they're doing. And no amount of making it softer, gentler, sweeter, kinder, nothing. None of that. None of that matters. Ultimately, those people really are standing in the way of a united progressive front to make us be able to tell Congress, no matter how corrupt they are, that they will serve our needs now and mean it. Not pussyfoot around, not play around. My Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black, 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 all this bullshit patty cake games. It's time to make people realize that you're not going to donate your way out of these disasters. You're not going to donate your way out of poverty. And you're not going to donate your way to single payer. You're not going to barter your way to single payer, you buffoon. You're not going to barter your way to free college for all, you moron. You're not going to barter your way to green energy investments tomorrow, doofus. You're not going to barter your way to getting the pharmaceutical companies to make pharmaceuticals that are affordable for us. You're not going to barter your way there, folks. Period. Full stop. So stop with the bullshit. Stop with the lies. Stop with the incompetence. And start putting humanity first. Stop with your pie in the sky. When we talk about pie in the sky, there's pie in the sky that's like, well, we need to create a new world, some world that doesn't exist, and with people that won't even acknowledge that taxes don't fund spending. So we can create a brand new world with all these crazy ideas with them in mind, right? Bullshit. They won't even pay 5 minutes of attention. They won't even give you 5 minutes of attention to explain the fact that federal taxes don't fund spending, or the fact that the United States government cannot go broke, or the fact that we can sit there and prioritize based on our access to resources, from people, labor, to actual natural resources, you name it, and run an efficient economy, an economy that protects all, that takes care of all, that balances the needs of environment and people and ecology and every other aspect, eliminating xenophobia, racism, you name it, by providing a federal job guarantee. Things that are very, very vital. Now, you go down there to, St. Croix, or maybe Puerto Rico, Tell them, hey man, I'm in for my UBI. Doesn't seem to be much work here. All this automation seems to be knocking out my jobs. No point in doing any work, man. I'm just ready to play some Xbox. Oh snap, we don't have electricity? Oh, I guess there's work to be done, huh? Exactly. Stop the bullshit. I'm tired of the fucking fireside bullshit. Well, I think it'd be a great idea. It wouldn't be a great idea. So we're sitting here now realizing that so many dumb lies about automation and all the other things that sideline us from being able to march straight to Congress and say, you will serve our needs. All these little sidebars, all this bullshit that prevents us from unifying. Fuck the party. I don't care about parties. Do you understand that? I do not care. I will march arm in arm down the street with Republicans, LOL, libertarians, socialists, alternatives. It doesn't matter because our needs are the same. We all have a need to survive. We have a desire to thrive, and we want our children to be able to have a life better than our own. The best way to render the rich irrelevant is to just do it without them. Do you understand this? The more you beg the rich for their hard-earned tax dollars that are deleted, by the way, just so we're on the same page, they're not recycled, okay? They never even make it to the Treasury's accounts. They are literally deleted, drained, done, okay? So once you realize this fact, you should stop wasting all of our time chasing after the rich people's tax dollars and make them irrelevant. Make our lives matter more. Make your children's future matter more. And then after we have saved humanity and the environment, then we go after them and take that wealth back because they're too goddamn rich. They're too goddamn rich. They don't need that much money and they don't need that much influence. But we can change society even with a corrupt Congress, even with a corrupt president, even with a system that has a deep state. We can do it if we unite. But the more people sideline us with lies and incompetence, the more people do this stuff, the less chance we have of fighting. And you want to know what? These new third parties and stuff, they're in the process of lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. And if they don't sign on and understand this as well, they will be spiraling down the toilet equally. You understand that? Right now, we have to take action, and it requires us to get rid of the noise. Get rid of the noise, get rid of the lies, get rid of Alex Jones and all the other bullshit. Make sure that people understand, number one, the United States government is monetarily sovereign, meaning that it is the god of its own dollar, meaning that it is the price setter, it's the monopoly issuer of the currency, regardless of your fetish about the Federal Reserve. When Congress acts, the Fed does what it says. However, when Congress refuses to act, then all the Fed can do is sit there and manage interest rates, swap debts around in the back end, and make it easier for you and I to get into private debt, because that's their role, monetary policy, not fiscal policy. Fiscal policy requires Congress to act. And you saw they acted with great precision in giving $700 billion to the military-industrial complex. Now you understand that that $700 billion is not something that we need to cut to pay for other things. We have that money. Now we may want to cut that for different reasons because we don't want the military doing whatever. But you don't cut that money. You shift it to some other priority. You don't cut spending when you're a net importer. When you're a net importer and you have $500 billion a year leaving your economy, your sectoral balances approach tells you that we've got to fill the bathtub somehow or another, because that is called a demand leakage. That money is leaving the drain of the economy, and the filling in the bathtub of our economy goes down when we are a net importer, which is fine because we just have to fill the bathtub back up with one of the other two things, either federal spending or private debt. Well, guess what? Congress has chosen not to spend on us and instead left us with private debt. You see how that worked right there? Congress could spend on us. They chose not to. They left us with fuck you private debt. That right there, my friends, is why you have all these visions about the Federal Reserve, because you don't understand that the reason why we don't have good things, the reason why we get all this crazy debt shit is because our Congress refuses to act. The representative body of both freaking Senate and House do not act on our behalf. Congress has control of all spending. Congress appropriates the bill. Damn it, it's spent. 700 billion out of thin air. Trust me, it was not your taxes paying for it. 700 billion created out of thin air, as they always do. This is not something new. But when we ask them to do it for us, what do they say? We got to eat our peas. We're going to build a bridge to a new tomorrow. We're going to do some we're going to be fiscally responsible. We're going to go ahead and cut welfare. We're going to make it the Personal Responsibility Act. We're going to cut welfare. We're going to kick them single mothers off there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut food stamps because we can't afford food stamps. But we got 700 billion we created out of thin fucking air. We're going to put that over there in the military industrial complex. And we're going to have a bunch of buffoons running around Facebook telling people, what about Weimar Republic? What about Venezuela? What about Zimbabwe? What are you going to do? Just print more money? Yes, that's what our movement is faced with. These dullards that have no interest in learning, that have no interest in understanding shit. And then you've got Shillery running around saying, what do you want, a pony? A pony? A pony? How about we want to live? How about we want our kids to live? How about we want these disasters to be like, no problem, we already have a plan in place. Stop lying about where the money's coming from. We already know. The government creates it, and when it wants to spend, it does. Do not make these people suffer because we have idiots running around going, well, what about Venezuela? What about the BRICS? The BRICS are coming. The BRICS are coming. They're coming to take me away. Ha-ha. That's kind of shit. The BRICS come. If China decides to dump U.S. debt, which would be mutually assured destruction, okay? What China would be signaling is they no longer want to do business with our massive economy, the world's largest. They don't want to do business with us anymore because to dump dollars would mean that they would have no ability to do trade. Do you understand this? Yes or no? It's very simple. So when people go, well, they're dumping dollars. Well, guess what? They're going to keep dollars here. They're still buying U.S. debt. Why is that? Because they need to facilitate trade in the U.S. If you believe for a minute, and let me tell you something, the U.S. starts cranking up that machinery again, starts becoming even a larger exporter, all those third world nations are going to go down the toilet. The United States has pushed out its productive capacity to these other nations right now. We, as the way the market is played out, we are a net importer. Doesn't matter whether the BRICS come. Doesn't matter. And any of this shit, it's all bullshit. Now, mind you, it does make buying exports a hell of a lot easier when you have the world's reserve currency. But Japan has a world reserve currency. The UK has a world reserve currency. So does the euro, okay? It doesn't freaking matter. I can assure you Japan is no longer an empire. I can assure you the UK is no longer an empire. They are not running around with a petrodollar. So why would someone worthlessly say such an evil, dumb thing? Because of Alex Jones? Rid yourself of Alex Jones. Rid yourself of Cynthia McKinney. Rid yourself of the 3 a.m. bloggers who don't know their ass from their elbow. Rid yourself of this moronic stuff and stay focused so that we can save lives. I'm not joking. This shit should be easy like butter. A hot knife through butter. That's how easy this should be. But it's not, because we have trolls running around going, what are you going to do? Print more money? You got to print more money? Thinking they're clever. They're not clever. They're stupid. And when I see it, I just want to flex them. That's where I go. Because it's so moronic. It bears no time waste. And I get these inboxes from people. God love you. I know that you're confused because these people confuse. They throw poison pills out there. They're not progressives. They are losers. They are there to infect us with idiocy. And you get these, well, I saw this blog called Coming Economic Collapse of whatever, blah, 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 world's going to end blog.com. and they said something about the BRICS are coming and they're going to go to a gold thing and they won't take US dollars and blah, blah, blah. It's time to shut that shit down, folks. It's time to shut it down. We got to stop this crap. You got to have enough strength to stifle the idiocy. You've got to do the homework. I hate to break this to you. This knowledge, it is not expensive at all in terms of money. You can get it. There's tons of information. We provide it to you constantly. Ellis Winningham provides it to you constantly. Joe Firestone provides it to you constantly. And many of the partners that we have out there from Modern Money Network, you name it, Ben Zager, all these groups out there have tons. Levy Institute has tons of white papers, tons of great blogs, tons of information to fill your mind with truth instead of these bullshit things that come from these conspirators. It's important for you to know this stuff because this is the tool that they use to suppress our movement. This is the tool they use to keep us begging for crumbs. And this is the tool that as you look, you notice the military never has to beg. It gets, and it gets more, and it gets even more. Why? Because they use the military as the employer of last resort. This is where the poor kids go for hope. Hey, I'll trade my body, I'll trade my life for an opportunity to go to college because my mom and dad, my dad's in jail for a drug war that didn't need to happen, and my mom's working third shift and sleeping during the day trying to take care of other people, and I don't have anybody to help me, so God damn it, I'm willing to sacrifice my body and my life so I can get the goddamn GI Bill. Folks, if you don't wake up, there's a lot of other people that are going to die too. And I'm not going to mince words. When we say it's in our hands, it is in our hands. And I'm looking around to see who's paying attention, and I'm looking around to see who's actually doing the reading. And I got to tell you, we got some good ones out there. People are paying attention, but we've got an awful lot of lazy people. Lazy revolutionaries that just go out there to the fireside and say, it's all hopeless. Empire's dying. We're not going to be able to do anything. The dollar's going to die. Blah, blah, blah. So let's think about what we want to do when we live on planet Venus. Okay, guys, it's time to stop allowing these people. These are real cultists. These cultists, these doomsday peddlers, need to be avoided or educated, one or the other. But their mindset is literally lethal to progress, and is lethal to all mankind. Your choice, my friends, your choice. Step up and learn and defeat idiocy, or sit back and go, it's all too hard. We can't do it without fair elections. We can't do nothing without fair elections. Without fair elections, we can't do it. We're trapped. We're done. Because ultimately, guess what? To get fair elections, you got to have those same corrupt bastards that you were saying wouldn't do anything we're asking for. You got to have those same corrupt bastards write a law to make them clean and fair. Did you know that? Oh, I'm sure you did. You just didn't think about it. So when people tell me the stuff I'm saying can't happen until, I'm telling you they're full of shit. They got like shit marks on their mouth. You know, instead of that milk ring, hey, you got milk? They got a shit ring from all the shit coming out of their mouth. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, it stinks to high heaven. It's time to get them a bath, and it's time to learn some economics. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. We'll be covering later on this afternoon tonight. There'll be a great thing out here in Kansas. We're going to be going to a dinner. There's going to be a jam session. You're going to get to see a lot of really awesome people. I'm going to make sure that we get as much footage as we can. In the meantime, though, I am begging and pleading with you. Disasters are going to keep happening. Climate change is real. We're watching it everywhere. And you know what? You're going to figure out real fast that your donations aren't enough. You're going to have to understand sovereign money. You're going to have to understand the United States is sovereign. Whether or not the fruitcakes want to tell you it's not, I'm telling you it is, and I'm telling you in spades I can prove it without any effort at all. And you can too if you care enough to try. So keep your head on straight, do some homework, and I'll see you later. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a wonderful day.